The Raiders are going to win this game.
Let's go. Let's go.
Then after you have great coaches, you get great players. You have a great organization, and you tell them one thing: just win, baby.
What is good, Raider Nation? It's your boy Raider Alex back with another live show for you guys. First, let me know how the audio is looking like, and how the audio is sounding like. And man, I just realized that intro, man, I'm definitely gonna have to update that because basically all those players are, not even on the team anymore. Josh Jacobs not here, and Devontae Adams also another player that's not gonna be here pretty soon. But let's talk about the game. Holy shit! I mean, the Raiders. I'm be honest, going into this game, I thought it was kind of like a pick'em game. I thought the Raiders had a chance to win this one, but even then, I've been very skeptical about this team. I mean, we just got a lot of things that just don't make us a good football team. But the thing is, I mean, I didn't expect us to get our asses beat like that. Man, just a lot of things to really unpack here, is just really where you want to start. But I definitely wanted to talk about the leader of this team, the leader of this organization right now, head coach Antonio Pierce. We're gonna wait for a little bit more people to pop into the live chat, but if you're here, make sure to check in the chat real quick. And also, anybody that's new, make sure to like, comment, subscribe as well. But yeah, definitely a tough loss, very embarrassing as well. Not only like the play on the field, but also, you look at those stands. Holy shit, bro! It looked like it was like a 70% Pittsburgh Steelers crowd, and oh my god, it's not a good look for this team. Hey, salute to the one JPTV. No, keep Antonio Pierce. Defense has no chemistry. Everybody's scared to tackle. Too many business decisions. That's a good point. But look, one thing I can't let AP off the hook though is because he's a defensive-minded head coach. Like when you hire a defensive-minded head coach, you expect that defense to be on par. You expect them to be on point. You expect them to be able to tackle well. How Antonio Pierce is a former linebacker. He was a great tackler. How can he not, teach these guys, to wrap up? I mean, this wasn't an issue last year. All of a sudden, AP gets the reins of the organization, and now this is a big problem. That's not a good look on Antonio Pierce. Like I said, whatever type of coach you hire an offensive-minded coach. You expect the offense to look good. Same thing with defensive-minded head coach. I mean, that was a huge criticism I had about Josh McDaniels. He's supposed to be an offensive-minded coach, and the offense was just shit. Now, I'm not saying that, our defense is shit, but this defense is underwhelming thus far. Salute to Dominique. He says, what's up? Hey, what's up, bro? Good seeing you here in the chat. And let me know, too, what do you think about Antonio Pierce? What's good, Raider Ryan? He says, he's teaching, they're just not executing. Okay. That's a possibility. Now, look, one thing, too, that I want to, clarify is I wanted Antonio Pierce in this offseason. I thought he showed me a lot. I was confident in him, but right now it's not looking good for him. I mean, I think there's just a lot of mistakes that the Raiders made in this offseason, and part of it, you got to put the blame on Antonio Pierce. I didn't think Luke Getsy was a good hire, back when we hired him back in February, and now you're kind of seeing why he's not very great. So, and stuff like that You also don't address the quarterback position in the draft. You don't make these type of moves in the off season. That's where it's going to affect you in the regular season. Now, one thing I will say is, I've seen a lot of people coming out and say, we should fire Antonio Pierce. Look, I'm definitely not on that train. I understand it looks ugly right now, looking like a shitty football team, but especially too, like if you were an Antonio Pierce advocate like I was, I say bare minimum, you got to give him this whole year. Give him the whole year. Let's see how we look throughout the course of full 17 game regular season. And then afterwards, we can make the decision, man. If it's not looking good, if it's looking worse, if it looks like he's losing the locker room, then you cut ties with him. As simple as that. And like I said, just make that decision at the end of the season. Because the last thing, you fire AP. What's going to happen? Who's going to be the interim head coach? Marvin Lewis? And and then let's say Marvin Lewis, kind of get a little spark towards the end of the season. We miss the playoffs. The team looks a little bit good. Well, now we're kind of like stuck in the same situation that we were last year. Some people are going to want the interim coach. Some are going to want us to go a completely different route. So, look, I just say, let it be. And the team's looking shitty right now. And if we're just going to be very bad, then just let nature take its course. And if we have to be a top 3 team in the draft next season just because we're so bad, all the injuries, then just let it be, man. I don't think we're Raiders fans, bro. We should be used to losing. So 1 year to potential. I don't even want to say sacrifice, because right now we're just not a good football team. So something to take into consideration. He says, PH calling the plays on defense. Thank you, Mel. Yeah, PG, yeah. Patrick Graham. Yeah, I mean, he's calling the plays on defense, but, I mean, at the same time, Antonio Pierce is the one that's supposed to be supervising the defense, supervising what he's doing, and most importantly, getting these guys to go out there and give their maximum effort. I mean, another thing I noticed, and let me know if you guys saw the same thing, but Jack Jones, it still looks like he's making business decisions out there. So it's like I thought this whole situation was fixed, right? I mean, he calls him out about the Carolina Panthers loss, and next week it looked a little bit better from him. But if he's going back right to the same things, it's like AP might be in there sending the right message. He might be telling them to do certain things, but if it's going out in one ear and coming out the other one, then that's a big issue. But yeah, Jack Jones, I mean, I know he can tackle. I mean, I've seen him tackle Lamar Jackson in week 2, a big play. He was able to do it. But then this week, I mean, Najee Harris, I mean, we made Najee Harris look like, prime beast mode out there, man. This guy's breaking tackles left and right. He's breaking off big runs. So, and then also too, I don't know if you guys remember, I think this was right before halftime. Justin Fields, he threw like a little like a dump off pass, and it looked like it was a lateral. The ball went onto the turf, and I feel like Jack Jones was like in a really good position to dive on the football, and he could have got a turnover right there. Now, obviously, while you're playing, you may not know for sure if it's a backwards pass or if it's a fumble, but you got to go for it. Worst case scenario, you get it, and oh no, it was a forward pass, and you move on to the next rep. But don't exactly quote me on that, but when I watch the film, I'm definitely going to keep a close eye on things like that, because if he's still doing those things, you gotta pull him, man. He's got to be on the bench, because we already saw it earlier this season, and if the team continues to lose, that's only going to get worse from a guy like Jack Jones. And we saw that from Marcus Peters last season, and that's a bad look for this team. You don't build a solid culture with plays like that. Hey, salute to Cool Kev. Thank you for pulling up, man. We got Cool Kev 75 saying, Telesco wasted the draft picks, only 3 out of 7 so far. I mean, I will say, like I was going into the draft, and a lot of people kind of criticized me about that, but I was a big advocate about, yo, we got to get a quarterback in the first round. I thought it was imperative that we try to go for Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix Jr., and I got kind of killed for it. Don't get me wrong, Brock Bowers was a good pick, and he's very likely going to be, a future. He could very well be a generational player at the tight end spot. So it wasn't that bad, but unfortunately, going into the season, I was kind of in the mindset like, yo, hopefully we if we do things good in the off season, if we can locate the quarterback position, I thought we were in a potential position to compete now, and when you have such a big need at the quarterback spot, and you take uh, another skill position in Brock Bowers, that's not going to really help us in wins and losses this season or next season. We need a quarterback, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is. This is what we got to work with, and I think we have to prioritize trying to locate a quarterback this year in the draft because look, Aiden O'Connell, look, I don't have any hate for the guy or anything like that, but look, I feel like he was a fourth round pick for a reason. He was a he was at Purdue for like 5 years. I mean, he's getting up there. I think he's already like 26, 27. So it's like, I just don't see it, man. That's why, like, going into this offseason, I didn't see enough from Aiden O'Connell for me to be fully convinced that he could be the franchise quarterback moving forward. And it just kind of sucks that we just, put all our chips on the table on Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew. So, but yeah, I mean, we made the change to AOC today, and the offense, looked just as bad. Um, the only I feel like the only difference is Aiden O'Connell does a lot better job protecting the football. Gardner Minshew, yeah, he's more of a gunslinger and he makes some dumb decisions. But the offense also feels like it's not as I just feel like Aiden O'Connell sometimes he's a little bit too conservative when it comes to pulling the trigger. So, but we'll see, man. I mean, also we're pretty banged up in the offense right now. Jacoby Myers was out, so. But like I said, I didn't expect a huge change in this offense until we were able to fix the offensive line issues and the run game. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do that. First drive, it looked like we were able to run the ball a little bit effectively, and you see we were able to, punch it into the end zone first drive. But after that, man, I mean, we can't run the ball at all. The play calling is very predictable. I mean, very vanilla, very conservative by Luke Gessie. Like, holy crap, bro. How many times it has to be third and long and this guy will run a halfback draw? I don't like that, man. That's way too conservative. And one thing about Antonio Pierce, going into the offseason, he talked a really good game, man. Like he said stuff like, all gas, no brakes when it comes to this football team. Well, I feel like when you say certain things like that, you kind of get the impression like, oh no, we're gonna be an aggressive team. We're gonna, go for it on fourth down. We're gonna do our best to put our best forward and be aggressive and try to win as many games as possible. But then you get play calling like that. You run back-to-back halfback dives. Like I said, you run the football on 3rd and 10. That's not all gas, no brakes. Raider Ryan says, was looking forward to see what Lobby could do, but he had no luck again. Yeah, I mean, Dylan Lobby has been getting no snaps all season long. He finally gets one and he fumbles it, man. Come on, yo. If you're trying to make a name for yourself, if you're trying to, climb up the depth charts, you can't do that. And it was a crucial mistake in the game. He says exactly. Jack Jones is still dodging tackles. Yeah, that's let me know if you guys saw the same thing. But like I said, I'll have to confirm when I watch the all 22 tape. But that's what I saw. First glance watching the game, and if that's the case, I think Antonio Pierce has to bench this guy. Raider Ryan says, I see JB as our number one, waiting to see who number two is. Yeah, I mean the way this season has been shaping up. I mean, yeah, I thought Jack Jones was gonna be the number one, but right now I have a lot more confidence in Jacorian Bennett, man. I mean, Jacorian Bennett, at least before this game, every single game he had a pass breakup. I don't think he had one in this game, but overall, Jacorian Bennett has been super solid. So that's exciting, but yeah, we need a little bit more. And look, Jack Jones has the talent, man. He has the athleticism. He has all the tools to potentially be a good player, but I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like an attitude problem, like a mindset issue. I don't know. He to be a defensive back, you can't be that timid when it comes to making tackles. And like I said, it looked like he was making those business decisions again, and that's terrible. Harris looked like Bettis on us. Yeah, man, we made this guy. Man, I'm telling you, he looked like prime beast mode out there. He breaking tackles, breaking off huge runs, and that's a big issue with this team. We're supposed to be a defensive minded team. The way I was looking at this season going into it is the defense was going to be the strength of this team. It was going to be we were going to lean on the defense. Well, you can't be a team that leans on your defense. You can't be a defensive minded team and not be able to stop the run. That's the one thing the Raiders cannot do, and they've shown it in 6 consecutive games. We cannot stop the run. Let me take a look at the stats, but I think so. Yeah, holy shit, man! 183 yards on the ground. My God, man, I didn't even think it was that bad. But yeah, looking at this, Najee Harris, 14 carries, 106 yards, a 36-yard run. And Justin Fields, 11 for 59 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns. Yo, you want to know what's crazy? Justin Fields had 59 yards. The Raiders' total back room had 57 yards. Think about that for a second. Their quarterback had more rushing yards than our entire running back group. That is pathetic, man. That is pathetic. We can't stop the run, and we also can't run the football. Those are essential things to football, man. Fuck, man. How do you shut down Lamar Jackson from running, but Fields goes off? Makes sense. Yeah, that's a good point, man. I mean, Lamar Jackson is like I think he's the hardest quarterback to stop when it comes to that sort of situation. The Raiders did really good. I don't know. I mean, I think part of it is definitely injuries. I mean, we don't have Christian Wilkins out there. I mean, Divine Diablo came back, and shout out to Divine. To me, Divine Diablo is the only player that can say, hey, he had a good game out there. He should have had an interception. We got a dumb penalty. Now, sort of a borderline flag, but it costed us, man. I mean, we can't. The Raiders haven't been. We haven't had a lot of penalties this season, but we've had some big ones. We've had some crucial ones. And, that comes back to discipline. I mean, right now, this team, just like I said, fundamentally doesn't look good. We can't run the ball. We can't stop the run. We're plagued with injuries. We got a mid situation at the quarterback spot. We got a bad offensive line. We got bad coaching. I'm gonna call it like that. And that falls on the head coach, Antonio Pierce. So if the Raiders keep this up, I mean, this could get very ugly very quickly. If we can't beat the Rams next week, if we can't beat the Rams, we go 2-5. I mean, I'll be very close to saying that the season's over because, and let me check our schedule, but I'm pretty sure after. Let's check. I'm pretty sure after we play the Rams, we play the Chiefs. I mean, let's be honest, that's more than likely that's a loss. Then we play the Bengals on the road. That's a tough matchup. I mean, I understand the Bengals haven't been great. They're actually playing right now too. I don't know what the score is and that, but they got a lot of firepower on offense. on the road too. That's a bad matchup. I could definitely see us losing that as well. If you lose these next 3 games, I mean, you'd be at what, 2-7, and then you get the bye week, and then you're on the road again against the Miami Dolphins. Um, and yeah, I mean, the Dolphins haven't been good either, but by then, Tua Tagovailoa, he might come back. And I mean, if he comes back, they could be the Miami Dolphins of the past. That high scoring, explosive offense. So, like I said, this could get really ugly if we can't beat the Rams. Um, But we got 15 people in the building, man. Make sure to hit the like on this. And then, like I said, anybody that's new, if you guys could subscribe, I would definitely appreciate that. I'm trying to go live a little bit more often, but I do a lot of film study videos and, just covering the Raiders in general. So yeah. Raider Ryan says, his offense hasn't helped much, but I was expecting our defense to make some game-changing turnovers this season. I understand we have injuries, but so does every other team. Yeah, that's true, man. I mean, the thing is, the Raiders been kind of thin at certain positions, and we were excited. I was excited about this defensive line, but you lose Malcolm Koonce, that's a big loss. You lose Christian Wilkins, he's going to be out at least another 3 weeks. But I will say, like, and this just jumps back to the way we built this team, right? We were supposed to be a defensive-minded team, and and I wasn't super opposed to that because with you being in the AFC West, being in a division with Patrick Mahomes, it's going to be hard to beat them at their own game. It's going to be hard to, outscore Patrick Mahomes. They have the best quarterback in the league. They arguably have the best coach in the league, for sure they have the best play caller. So, it's going to be almost impossible to beat them at their games. So I didn't mind us going that route, but if you're going to be a defensive-minded team, you got to get turnovers. And last I checked, the Raiders were ranked 32nd, 32nd, dead last when it comes to creating turnovers. That's unacceptable, and that's why the Raiders are in the situation we're in. We're 2-4. We're supposed to be this defensive-minded team, and the defense has been, I'll say they've been all right because they started off the season pretty solid, but it's been. You can't be we can't say it's a super good defense because you got cooked versus Andy Dalton week 3. And the stats also back it up that they're not that great of a defense. So yeah, it's just super frustrating. Mr. Halfback 69 says Aiden O'Connell did great today. It was a play calling to blame. I don't know about that, bro. What did you see that made you think that he played great? He didn't play great. I mean, sure, you can probably say he's played better than Minshew the last couple games, sure, but I didn't see him play great. Raider Nation needs to understand this team cannot overcome 3 turnovers and a block punt, especially the refs making terrible calls, 2 roughing the passers that weren't. I mean, for sure. I mean, yeah, we're biting we're shooting ourselves in the foot when it comes to the turnovers. And then a block punt. I mean, come on, that's inexcusable. And this was going to be a game. It was, I thought it was going to be like more of a defensive battle. I thought it was going to be ugly. I thought it was going to be a dogfight. And in those type of games, you can't give up the football. You can't do things like that. And unfortunately, the Raiders did, and we weren't able to get a turnover. But that's really been the trend all season long. We're turning the ball. It'd be interesting to figure out our turnover differential on the season, but it's got to be towards the bottom of the league as well. So. This defense is average right now. They cannot create turnovers. Remember, Jackson threw a pick in the Ravens game, which turned it. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that was that's a good example. That's what turnovers can do. I mean, that game was trending when I was watching that game. That felt like a game like especially in that instance. I think we were down. I want to say we were down 16-6, and it's like, oh shit, the Ravens got the football. If they can get a score here, it's gonna be over. And Spillane was able to get that turnover. You get into great field positions, and that's what a turnover can do, man. It can really put your offense in the best position to succeed, and it can help shift the momentum, and that's what happened in that game. Raider Ryan says Bengals are up 7-10 on the Giants. Okay. We got Dominique saying, I love Max, but he needs to punch the ball and create turnovers like Watt does. Yeah, I mean, and look, going into this game too, I was really hoping Max Crosby could just come out and have like a super dominant performance, because you always hear TJ Watt's the best edge rusher in the league. Everybody in the preview talking about, oh, TJ Watt's gonna get after it in this game. He's a impact player. And I don't want to say Max Crosby doesn't get love throughout the league, but he's not really. I don't want to not everybody thinks he's like a top 3 edge rusher. So this would have been a really nice, day for him to just like, wreck this game and just completely take over. So, I definitely understand what you're saying. I would like to see him get more strip sacks, or like you said, be able to punch the football out. And, that would have been nice. But just in general, Brian, this team, and another thing too is like this team can't tackle. It's like, bro, you got to be good at one thing. Like, okay, if you're not going to be a defense that gets a lot of turnovers, well, you need to be super fundamentally sound. You need to be good in situational awareness on like third and longs, and most importantly, when you see somebody, you make the tackle immediately. And this team, they don't tackle either. So, at least if you're not going to tackle, maybe can we find a way to punch a football out? Can we find a way to get some picks here and there? So, yeah, super frustrating with this team, man. Dominique says Jack Jones is ass. I want to say he's ass, but he's definitely a lot. I expected a lot more. And I'll say his effort at times is definitely ass. And we can't be having that, man. That's giving us Marcus Peters vibes, and especially too, man. It's selfish from him too, right? Like he was out of a team for a second, and Antonio Pierce comes out and he vouches for him. He brings him in here, and it's like, man, it's supposed to be your head coach, and you're showing that type of effort out there. That's not a good look, man. That's not a good look, and I think AP is gonna have to fix this, which is unfortunate, because I thought this thing would have been already. I thought this whole situation would have already been handled after that Week 3 performance versus the Panthers, which was a complete embarrassment. So, yeah, man. I mean, fuck. We got Young DB94 says we need a new quarterback, offensive coordinator, and running back. Hey, man, you ain't never lied about that. I agree 100%, man. Like I said, this offseason, I don't care what it takes. You got to get a young quarterback. You got to get some type of quarterback that we can just think about what that could do for a franchise, man. We finally get a quarterback that we can believe in. And, perfect. If you do that, you need to get a new offensive coordinator, somebody that's going to be in and on the scouting when it comes to what quarterback we end up taking. And ultimately, we need a play caller on offense that can build the offense and tailor the offense around the skill sets of whatever player we end up drafting. Whether it be Shador Sanders, whether it be Cam Ward, whoever the quarterback may be. And look, it's too early for me to really get a true assessment on these guys in college. Um, but whoever the quarterback is, you need an offensive coordinator, ideally a younger, modern OC that can do this for this offense. But yeah, man, that's gonna be a huge to me that's gonna be a huge priority, and I hope we can do it. The way the Raiders are trending right now, I mean, they very well could have a really good pick. Um, and even if we get back to our, because like I feel like the past few seasons we've been in what people would like to call mediocrity hell. I mean, we're not ass. We're not a super shitty team where we're like in the top 3, top 5 of the draft, but we're also not like good enough to be a legit playoff contender, or sometimes even make the playoffs. So when you're consistently in that middle of the pack, it makes it a little bit difficult to make some big moves in the draft without giving up a lot of draft capital. So um, whatever the case may be, if you have to give a draft capital, you have to do it. In my opinion, you have to do it. But I mean, and let me know too. You said we need a new quarterback. What quarterback would you like to see for us next season? Crosby, you said showing, but I'm pretty sure you meant shoving a coach is a big tell. Well, look, I did see that, and I forgot who posted it on Instagram, and I commented like, "Yo, I hope I'm missing some context here," but the way the post was, the way that video looked, it seemed like he pushed him like after basically when that whole scandal was going on with us getting our ass beat, and I said that was super disrespectful. But I mean, Max Crosby came out and he reportedly said that was, I think that was after we got a sack on Justin Fields. So I don't think there was any ill intent on that. So I don't. So yeah, I mean, it's basically don't make it out. It didn't. It's not what it seemed. So yeah, but yeah, if it would have been like I thought, if he would have pushed them when we were losing or some shit like that, that'd have been super disrespectful. But that wasn't the case. We got Raider Paul saying Aiden O'Connell trash. To me, I mean, he's just mid. I mean, we'll just have to see. I mean, at this point, if we're gonna be ass, I'd rather be ass with Aiden O'Connell, because at least Aiden O'Connell, week in week out, you can see if he's improving. He's younger. He's got more upside than a Gardner Minshew. I mean, Gardner Minshew at this point is a veteran. We know what he is. He's like to me, Gardner Minshew is a really good backup. Like I would like for him to be the backup. Ideally if our franchise quarterback ever went down, if he has to step in for a couple of weeks, I mean he's shown us that he can win a game here and there. So like I said, if we're gonna be ass, man, let's get a younger quarterback out there and see what he has, man. See what he has, and if he's ass too, well, now we got all our answers going into this offseason. We have all our answers. We know what we have with Aiden O'Connell. You could be like, okay, he's not the franchise quarterback, and you already know what you have in Gardner Minshew. So that's what, at this point, that's what I want to see. But like I've said in my past videos, and like I've said earlier in this stream, I mean, the issues with this offense is not, only on the quarterback position, man. It's the fact that, so I don't really see a big difference with Aiden O'Connell or Gardner Minshew. The play calling is still what it is, and most importantly, this offensive line still, if they're still fucking ass like they've been, if we still can't run the football, it's gonna be the same. It's just gonna be a different style. That's all it's gonna be. Minshew might be a little bit more exciting, make some more bigger plays here and there, but he'll probably give you more turnovers. O'Connell will probably be more methodical, take care of the football. But yeah, that's the reality with this offense. We got Raider Paul saying Minshew Mania would have given us a better chance. Oh well. I mean, I don't know, man. He's been playing really bad, man. And the way he's been playing, he's a guaranteed turnover or two. So either way, I think we would have been cooked if we had Minshew or Aiden O'Connell. Yeah, man. Check out. I'm pretty sure he posted on Twitter, Max Crosby. But check it out. Yeah, it wasn't what it seemed like. He wasn't pushing him. It wasn't like no ill intent like that. But like I said, if that would have been the case, yo, that'd have been a huge problem for this team. Oh, but yeah, let's see what else we can get into before the end of the stream. But and then another thing I'm gonna say about Antonio Pierce too. Like I said, this team doesn't look like a good coach football team. And one thing that I just really didn't like was when Alexander Madison he ran the football, gets to like the 1 yard line. To me initially it looked like a touchdown, but Antonio Pierce doesn't challenge that, man. I mean, we've already seen situations like this, last season with like clock management and also not challenging. He doesn't challenge it. I don't know, man. That's a big play for us. And look, he may have challenged it, and it might have still been ruled not a touchdown. But what makes matters worse too is I don't know why the hell the Raiders are hurrying up. It's like, yo, like let the play clock, run down a little bit. Maybe give the officials a chance to maybe, somebody upstairs let them know, hey, this is a controversy call. We might have to look at it and review it. But no, these guys, I don't know, let's hurry up, and they get the snap off. And of course, Amir Abdullah fumbles at the 1 yard line. It was that type of day for the Raiders. But like I said, it just don't make sense. Why are you hurrying up? It's like I said, either you either you challenge that shit, or try to run down the clock a little bit, see if the refs can kind of help you out in that sense. But yeah, man, I just cannot believe that at all. And it's one thing that it's like Antonio Pierce, it doesn't seem like he's getting better at these situations. And you would think, I mean, you got Marvin Lewis on the staff, you got all these, former coaches on the staff, and nobody can figure out this situation, man. I want an AP as a coach, but it's not looking good for him. But I will say, like I've said before, man, if don't fire Antonio Pierce, let this season ride out, and if we end up being ass, let it be ass, and we at the end of the season we can fire him or whatever. But yeah, fire Luke Getsy ASAP, 100% facts. Peace. I mean, and here's another thing too, Luke Getsy. I mean, sure, if it makes you feel better, you can fire him, but like, I still don't see that being a big solution to this offense, because unfortunately, with football, it's you make this bad decisions like this in the off season. It's hard to fix it in the regular season. We're still going to be running his same playbook, same concepts. The only difference is, somebody else is going to be calling the plays. If you fire him, who's going to be the offensive coordinator? Yeah, I don't see that being a big improvement. But the way the season is going, and if Antonio Pierce needs a scapegoat, that's going to be the one. That's going to be the one move they make. Personally, I don't see him firing him tomorrow. But like I said, sure we could fire him, but it's not going to make that big of a difference. Like I feel like a lot of people are making. We got Florida Boy saying Diablo in the post games. He said, "Guys in the front seven are doing their own instead of playing the right assignments." Oh shit! Yeah, I did not hear that, man. I didn't even know. Oh, it's probably in the locker room interviews, I assume. But But yeah, because I was like, I didn't see him in the post game press conference. I just saw it was Aiden O'Connell and Antonio Pierce. But yeah, if I get a chance, I'm definitely gonna check that out. But if that's true, that's leadership once again. Antonio Pierce, you're supposed to be the one in check of all this. Like, let's be honest, we didn't hire Antonio Pierce because he's like this, defensive minded wizard, or or that he's like an offensive guru. He's not really like a strategist in that sense. He doesn't have he's never been a coordinator in the National Football League. We hired him because we felt like he could instill a culture in this locker room, in this franchise. He could keep the players in check. He could make them he could have them, going through a brick wall for him and be motivated week in and week out. And we thought he was gonna make the right decisions, hiring the offensive coordinator to let them do their thing, kind of be like a Mike Tomlin style coach, but it's just not looking that way. And just too many red flags on this team, and it starts with the head coach. Says you need to give AP 2 to 3 years and let him build this team. He has a 2-year contract. Davis isn't going to move on for him. Luke Gessie wasn't the first choice either. It was Kingsbury. Yeah, but that's part of the issue too. It's like you're not like the Kingsbury deal fell apart, which, let's be honest, we don't really ever see that happen in the NFL. That's not a common thing where it's like it's getting reported by the ESPNs, the Adam Schefters, that the Raiders are planning to hire Cliff Kingsbury, and a couple of days later, he backs out. Of course, things like this only happen to the Raiders, but I feel like they panicked a little bit and they kind of scrambled. I wouldn't be shocked if Luke Gessie was like their 4th or 5th option. So obviously, I don't know the details of what ended up happening, why Kingsbury didn't end up, getting signed as offensive coordinator, but it is what it is. I mean, that's a mistake of AP. I don't know if we necessarily have to give him 2-3 years. You said he has a 2-year contract, but I haven't seen any details about his contract, to be honest with you. I don't know if you have to, let the season ride out. But if you're not confident in him as a head coach, then maybe you definitely can't fire him. But we'll see, man. Says, yeah, in the locker room interview, it's on the Raiders channel. Okay, yeah, I'll definitely check that out. But Raider Nation, that's basically all I wanted to talk about today. Like I said, the Raiders fall 32-13 to the Pittsburgh Steelers, an absolute embarrassing performance. This team, week in and week out, continues to show us why they're just not a good football team. I would like to, hope that there's a bright light at the end of the tunnel. But, get ready, Raider Nation. This could be a very long season for us, and it is what it is. But, yeah, guys, without further ado, I'm going to be heading out here too. And anybody that catches this on the replay too, if you haven't done so, make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. With that being said, though, guys, I will see you guys in the next one.